Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
It's a great day. I'm Mark Imperial. For the past 7 years, I've scoured the globe looking for noteworthy experts, businesses, people, places, and things. On this special edition of the show, we'll meet some of the world's leading professionals in health, nutrition, and fitness, people from all across the country, around the world, and in your town. Welcome to the program. On this segment, my next guest is Tammy Saurette from Be Curious Yoga and Mindful Fitness out of Boulder, Colorado. Tammy, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark.
Will you tell us a little bit about Be Curious Yoga and Mindful Fitness and the types of people that you help?
Sure thing. What I like to do is bring the mindfulness into exercise. I just feel very strongly that exercise really is our best source of insurance to take care of ourselves. And what better to really work with the body, but take it a step deeper and connect with the mind as well. So allowing those different emotions or sensations to arise and allowing yourself to utilize that as fuel, if you will, at times. Say if anger comes up, we can utilize that in the gym in a very healthy way and allow that to move through the body so the body isn't held or holding anything unwanted. So for me, excuse me, it's really about allowing the mind and the body to be in sync together, because a lot of times we will also limit ourselves in our mind from a past experience. And when you come across a professional, safely you can work through those. And it doesn't always have to be conscious. It can be unconscious as well. But the beauty of bringing the consciousness into movement, I find, is a lot safer. And you reach your goals a lot faster, in my experience.
For the listeners who haven't experienced your work yet, tell them a little bit about where you train and what it's like. Sure.
Well, I graduated from Naropa University, a Buddhist college here in Boulder, and I yoga assisted the yoga psychology program there under my teacher, Nataraja. And I work there part-time, not currently at the moment, but that's been really fulfilling a lot of my work. And I work downtown at One Boulder Fitness, downtown Boulder, and I also have a home studio not far from there. So depending on what the client's needs are, where I have a couple clients that don't really enjoy the gym atmosphere, so they come to my private studio, and I will work resistant training, functional fitness. We will do balance, proprioception. I work with clients that are cancer survivors, as I'm a survivor myself, and also people with Parkinson's, all the way up to semi-pro bike racers and also 15-year-old Olympic swimmers. So for myself, I enjoy many different challenges for different clients and what they provide me to create more solutions. And then in turn, coming back around to after we've strengthened the muscle and added some more connection, if you will, through the proprioception, then I also like to lengthen. So usually we'll finish up with yoga specifically created for that client and what their weaknesses and strengths are.
So the clients that come to see you, Tammy, what are they seeking? Like when they first come to see you, what is a common challenge that you find them having that they want to solve?
That's a great question, Mark. It varies, but I would say for myself, people that seek me out, I'm not the typical trainer where in Boulder we have a lot of amazing athletes, some of my great friends, and I'm not the extreme trainer as I was in my 20s. And so now being in my mid-40s, I see the difference of the elasticity in our muscle fibers and how our skin changes and how the connective tissue all holds that. And so I would say most of my clients to date, currently, I do more rehabilitation pre-post surgeries. Also, clients or people rather, that have worked out but still create that wall and they can't quite get past it. So they want a little bit more integrity, if you will, to work with the mind. We may meditate sometimes or do pranayama, breath work, and really slow the nervous system down. So then when they're in the gym, they're really in the gym for themselves, or they're there taking that time. I think a lot of us are so busy these days and there's so much input that we have a harder time to slow down. And so clients that come to me currently really want to kickstart. They want to keep improving and progressing in their lifestyle. So it's more than just looking good. Now it's more sustainability and wanting to have more energy throughout the day, as well as calming the mind and being a little more logistical, I guess, in their day-to-day.
It sounds like you're taking them on more of a fitness journey than just yoga, like beyond yoga. Like, what would you say you're really, like, what is Tammy really known for? What's the front door, the first experience people come to see you? Is it yoga? Is it meditation? Or is it something totally different?
I think people get curious about the body-mind centering of it all, like what that looks like. And I guess that's part of your question. And I'm trying to answer as directly as I can, but I have a lot of
as an outsider looking in, this is the thing I'm seeing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like wanting to know, what is Tammy Saurette about?
Honestly, fun.
Yeah.
I teach a class that is called Body Shop, and basically that it incorporates a lot of the modalities that I love to do. So I would say if you first saw me across the gym, most people have told me they love my laugh, and I'm very welcoming. So I'm very open and approachable. And I don't have a lot of attitude. So I love talking and sharing what I love in the world, which is fitness, and talking about where people are and their story and how they got there. So I think the first door in would be that they're curious about their own body. And I find a lot of people get cut off at the neck down where we're so heady, and the proprioception is lost. So I think people get really curious about why is it so much fun? Why are we enjoying these classes and people are sweating and, you know, screaming and all these fun things without having to push it, just allowing it to originate. And so that's a great question. I would guess that people are more curious about themselves. And so they're curious to come to me to find out that reflection.
That's really fascinating to me, because it's really more about themselves and their journey than it is about any specific type of fitness. So like yoga or meditation, that's really just the tool that you use to
Correct.
That they use. So that's really fascinating. So Tammy, you told us a little bit, but how did you get inspired and how did you get started? Give us a little bit more of your story.
Oh, thank you. Well, I started in an athletic family. Mainly it was track and softball. And I think I was just a very energetic kid. Well, I know I was, as my father would tell me. And so I was always like out playing. And for me, I just wanted to have more fun. And I always felt better after I worked out. I didn't quite get the connection when I was younger. And then, unfortunately, I was in a series of car accidents in my late teenage years. And I started the path of putting the spine back together and really had no idea what I was doing. I loved working out, but again, I thought a lat row was for your arms. I was 12. And just allowing myself to explore and make mistakes. And in that journey of learning what massage could do for your body and how certain mechanics can actually strengthen. And I grew up in late 80s, 90s, where in Phoenix, it was just a lot of muscle heads. And I was surrounded by a lot of professional athletes at 18 and football players and wrestlers. And I was going to school for physical therapy at the time. And I just found this family that really helped me, and did a couple fitness competitions, which was really fun. But I didn't like the road of drugs that were behind it. So I just kept exploring, and I was really, really curious about meditation. And I just kept following that thread to Boulder. And I actually put down teaching classes and personal training for a year, and it found me again. And the interesting part is that clients or directors, when I was at a club, would approach me and be like, you really need to teach. And I was studying dance and going to school for physical therapy. And it just came really natural. I liked having that time all by yourself. Even if you were in a class, you still practiced by yourself. And something about pushing up against weight just feels really empowering. And I just always walked away where my mind was soft and my body felt more empowered and more strength, but not in a hard way. And I just enjoyed sharing that. So the interesting part is I kept trying to get out of teaching because I was following my dancing career more. And then I just kept getting pulled back in, and I was listening. And I really found myself 27 years later, like, wow, this is pretty exciting.
Wow. So, Tammy, to wrap this up, what's one thing that you would tell someone that is considering their health now and finding who they are? What's one thing they should consider to be successful on that journey?
I would say move a little every day.
Yeah.
Because really, we are responsible for our own health, and just moving the lymphatic system will soften the mind and add more flow and more grace to one's life every day. And if you miss a day, that's all right. Just miss it. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Just do it. And even if it's just walking 20 minutes a day.
So, Tammy, how can folks, our listeners, if they're nearby, how can they connect with you, learn more, and perhaps work with you?
They can contact me through One Boulder Fitness, or my email address is plsaurette, SAURETTE, @yahoo.com.
This has been terrific, Tammy. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with our listeners today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure to be on your show, and I really appreciate talking with you as well. Much success.
And this is a special edition on health, nutrition, and fitness. On this segment, my guest is Andrew Morris from Washington, Illinois. Andrew, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Hey, great to have you here. For our listeners, Andrew, tell us a little bit about the work that you do and the type of people that you help.
All right. I am a personal trainer at 5 Points, Washington, and I help my clients work around previous injuries or other issues and help them to reach their goals and become the best version of themselves possible. Technically, people consider what I do post-rehab, but I don't like that word a whole lot because it kind of makes it sound like we just do a bunch of corrective exercises. But in truth, many of my clients are working towards like twice body weight squats, deadlifts, or towards their first pull-ups. And so they have much more strength-oriented than what the post-rehab title would make them sound.
Oh, that's great. So you have a real specialty there. So how do people find you then, beyond advertising? Is it word of mouth, or how do people find you mostly?
So I know a few like physical therapists and chiropractors in the area. And so if a client comes to me, I'll send them out to them if they have some injury that's beyond my scope of practice. And sometimes they return the favor and send somebody that they're done with to me to help build on what the success that they've achieved in therapy or chiropractic medicine.
So what is the people that come to find you, what is their biggest challenge, do you find? Do they have a common challenge that they really want met, that they already have in their mind that they want to accomplish when they come to you?
So a big challenge that I see is that many people have the mentality of working through injuries and not working around them. So people think that they have to, like I'll get people that have done programs that are designed for somebody else and their unique needs, and it doesn't necessarily fit their what they need or how they move or whatever. So we just make a couple adjustments there and design a program based on what I see and what I assess out so that they can reach their fitness-related goals of fat loss or getting stronger in as safe a way as possible.
So I'd imagine people don't know. A lot of people they don't know what they don't know. So what are the two or three biggest questions that people come to you with?
So I get there's a lot of like trends in the fitness industry in general. Just kind of it plays on people's insecurities. So I'll get a lot of questions related to that. So like a lot of times people think that they just need to be lifting really light weights to reach their goals to get these long and lean muscles, but that's not necessarily how it works. Some people think that if another question I get is, so should I do a wide grip or a narrow grip because a wide grip makes me more bulky, but that isn't necessarily how it works, but people play off of those insecurities that people have and try and make it sound like their model is the best. So we have to just kind of re-educate people and get them to realize that lifting heavy things is cool. It'll keep you safe and it'll help you reach your goals much, much quicker, I guess would be the best way to explain it.
There's definitely a ton of information out there because the wide grip, narrow grip, that's even new to me. And I've talked to a lot of trainers. So let's get into that a little bit more. There is a lot of information out there, some, confusion, not necessarily misinformation, but misunderstood information. How do you view it from the approach to a new client? What's going to help them become successful?
Well, first, to make sure I was clear on the wide grip and narrow grip thing, that's something that I've seen recently on social media. It was in a magazine publication that wide grips make muscles more bulky and narrow grips make them, will help them stay lean. But a wide grip versus narrow grip really doesn't do anything. It just very slightly changes the recruitment patterns of certain muscle groups. It doesn't really change if you're going to look bulky or lean.
I see. Yeah. So yeah, if somebody comes to you and they're like, your approach, what do you see as the ultimate great formula if there is a such thing, between all the information that's out there, between strength training, cardio, how do you view it?
That's always a tough question because as with most things in the fitness industry, it just kind of depends. So for the most part, I would say with what I see is I get more of the people who just have fantastic cardio because they've been doing a lot of treadmill work. They love to run. 5Ks are huge in this area, and then you'll get like marathon people. And so I just try and introduce more of the strength component to it. It's not perfect for everyone, but many people, that is the component that they are missing and that they need to work on. So that's where we focus on. But we have to figure out like which exercises are right for them. So do they have any mobility restrictions? Do they have any aches or pains that we need to work around? And so we try and fit the exercise to them and not try to fit them to the exercise, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people think that it's good to combine the cardio and the strength training. And I've heard other people say that they fight each other. If you do too much cardio, you're actually burning off the muscle that you're creating, and they sort of fight each other. What are your thoughts on this perception?
I used to be all that. Even very recently, I was more under the impression that it was they would kind of take away from each other. But I've kind of changed that recently. They do actually work well together up to a certain point. So it just depends on like if I'm going really hard for strength at one point, I don't want to try and match that intensity with cardio all the time. I kind of want to work towards the lower end. But if I'm working more cardio, I want a higher intensity cardio and then maybe just a slightly lower intensity strength workout so that we don't compete that way and then overtrain somebody so they can still recover, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you really just want to look good, in your clothes and all that, which way would you suggest to go, the strength route or the cardio route? Or is there a balance of both?
There is a balance to both, and it kind of depends on what the client's aesthetic goals look like more. Do they want to be like super, super lean, or do they kind of want that like, because I'll get a lot of people, they want their arms to not look bulky, but they want them to have that muscular appearance where you can see the infamous toned look. And so towards that, I would lean a little bit more towards the strength component of it, but there is definitely a place for cardio in many of their programs.
Oh, right on. So, Andrew, how did you get, you know a lot about this, so how did you get started? What inspired you to get into fitness?
So I kind of had a boring route like many people. I was an athlete, and so this is the answer that I'm sure you hear a lot. I wasn't a very good one, though. I was mediocre at best, and so I had to work really hard, and I got paralyzed by all this knowledge. But then one of my coaches in college actually turned me on to Eric Cressy, who's like the top of our industry. And so then I kind of branched out from there and just took in everything I could from him. And so it's really helped me to figure out how to learn things and have a better filter for what is right and what is wrong, I guess, so to say.
Oh, right on. So to wrap this up, what's one thing that you think people really should consider if they want to be successful with their fitness? What is it that they should be really very mindful of?
One of the most important things is consistency. So whatever you can do to keep you consistent nutritionally and exercise-wise, that's what's going to do it. So the best exercise program, I believe, is one that you can do at least 3 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year, and that's going to give you success.
Excellent. Andrew, how can our listeners, if they're near you or want to connect with you and learn more, perhaps work with you, where should we send them to find you and find information?
I don't have a website up quite yet. I'm working on it. Hopefully that'll come up soon. But for right now, you can find me on Facebook at Andrew Morse Fitness, and that is where I probably post the most at the moment. Or I also post a lot for 5 Points Washington personal training, that Facebook page. You can find me there.
Hey, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my listeners today, Andrew, and I wish you continued success for you and all of your clients.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
We're in the middle of a special edition of the program on health, nutrition, and fitness. On this segment, my guest is James Boykin from To Work Hard Incorporated out of Mentor, Ohio. James, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you.
So, James, tell us a little bit about To Work Hard Incorporated and the types of folks that you help.
Okay. My business started I've been training over 40 years. And basically I help moms, dads. I've trained professional athletes. I've trained high school athletes. A lot of people just wanting to get back into the fitness business. The old antage of weekend warriors that used to be great, quote unquote, back in college days. Mm-hmm. And they've sort of fallen by the wayside. And we help them get back, bring their lives back to full circle.
Oh, right on. Okay. So how did these folks, like, for example, you mentioned, hey, these folks are athletes. They've probably trained before in the past. How do they approach you? Do they have a common challenge that you often find they have?
A lot of them, yes. There's just, I've had people from other clients refer folks, and they come in and they bring a picture of, boom, this is me before children, and this is me after children, and here I am now. And I'm like, okay. And they go, you're going to laugh. And I'm not going to laugh. It's sad sometimes because they've tried so many different other avenues, diets, television, promotions, this, that, and the other, all to failure, basically. And they come to me because a lot of times they just need to be held accountable.
Ah, so you're really there to help them get back to their former glory. So what do you think is causing these challenges for these folks? Is it too much information out there, or misinformation, or misunderstanding, or confusion in general? You said accountability. Is there anything else?
Right. Well, confusion in general. I mean, the beginning of the year is a multi-billion-dollar diet business. They're gonna flood the market with lose weight, look good, testosterone load, run this, do this, buy that, get one, get free. The biggest thing that we have to do is we've allowed ourselves to go supersize. Everything we eat. I mean, you're not going to go to a prime steakhouse and order a 6-ounce mini filet or a petite filet when, they want you to buy the mumbo jumbo with the side of the largest baked potato in the world. And we're going to eat that.
Mm-hmm. Can't be teased by that. No mini teaser on the steak.
Right. My biggest goal is to get people to see that reality is what we're actually doing. We're actually overdoing it ourselves. Right. We're just getting too out of hand. I mean,
Yeah, right on.
I've seen that. You ready? $1 potato. Right. 99-cent potato chips. That's a small bag. And I have a lot of my clients, I make them go through the empty bag syndrome. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what's the first step then? What do you say is the first step to get them started on that road back to glory? When you first meet with them, what do you go over?
I want to see what they've eaten in the last week. And honestly, if it's Snicker bars and Twinkies, I want to see that. I want them to take that time to write down exactly what they're eating and draw. If you're having a good day, draw a happy face. If you're having a sad day, draw a sad face. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people are emotional eaters this time of year. Horrible. Okay? Mm-hmm. So basically, they do a mock menu before they even meet with you. How much water you're drinking, whether it's Coke, how much, if you're smoking cigarettes, if you're doing this. I'll just be honest. And if you can't be honest in that first initial impact, you're not going to be honest throughout this whole program.
So it sounds to me like the nutrition part you bring up right away, and because that's like a major key to their success.
Yes, sir. The biggest part of it.
Now, when you approach the actual training and exercise portion, there's so many different, as you mentioned, like fad workouts out there. Is there any legitimacy to them, or what's your approach? How do you, what do you think works in the best combination?
Well, I call it the guided discovery, where I put them on a treadmill and I talk to them while I'm standing next to them. Mm-hmm. And we turn it up, we turn it down, we hold a conversation. I listen for the breathing to raise with the intensity. Mm-hmm. And some people seem to think they're better athletes than me. I used to be able to run when I was in college. Well, now if I put you at a run, at a good walking pace, you're out of breath. So that guided discovery lets me know where we are throughout this whole thing, and we try to use that as our set point. Mm-hmm. When we first came in, we did 5 minutes on the treadmill. You had to sit down to catch your breath. 3 weeks later, I guarantee you'll be running probably by that point, and you won't need to sit down to catch your breath. Mm. I mean, trainers, we're a dime a dozen. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly. There's myths out there about every trainer. But the biggest thing is, my theory is, let's get you moving. Let's start seeing something happening within that 30-day period. I call it the break-in period, guided discovery break-in, that within 30 days, I can guarantee you your money back, even that you're going to lose weight, you're going to feel better, and you're going to do better than you ever thought you were with any other trainer, for the simple fact I can prove at that point that you came through here, and this is where you are now, if you stay with this program.
You mentioned,
it's basic.
You mentioned myths out there about different trainers and stuff. What do you think is the biggest myth that people believe?
The biggest loser myth is what I would call it. Those guys, when you watch it on TV, you see it happen, and you go, my God, I could do that. I can get a trainer that'll push me, and theoretically, we can kill you if we're not careful. Beyond that point, to get this done. But the hardest thing is, those people are there. They live that healthy lifestyle. They have a doctor attached to them. They have a trainer accessible for the full duration of those 6 to 12 weeks every day. They don't even have to go to a job. What I get people that have a full-time job. They can't eat 6 to 8 times a day because their job doesn't require that. Some days life gets in the way. You can't get to the gym. Some days the wife isn't on board with what you're eating or what you need to eat because the family's not going on this journey with you. So boom, the obstacles are a lot harder real life. Mm-hmm.
So what's the solution for everyday folks that do have jobs? I always wondered, by the way, when I watch those shows, I'm like, are these people independently wealthy? How do they have no job?
Well, I think a lot of them are so unhealthy that the jobs kick in, okay, and they say, okay, you got this much vacation. If this works, fine and dandy. And there's always that monetary prize at the end of the rainbow. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And none of these shows, they just recently, they're not going to show you how many people succeeded and failed in these programs.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw a study not too long ago where over half of the people go right back, if not worse than they were before.
I believe
That's
it.
Alarming.
Yeah, I believe it. So what?
Okay.
What's the solution then for people that everyday people that do have jobs and work and they don't have all that time?
Accountability. I make my people contact me weekly, and I try to pick up the phone and respond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you shoot me a text, shoot me an email, tell me what you eat, and tell me why you didn't get to the gym. I'm not trying to shame you into it, but people that are held accountable seem to respond phenomenally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People really want the results.
There is a fee, right? And there is a fee. I mean, every trainer that's working via internet, this, that, and the other, there are fees. So you're paying somebody to make you follow the yellow brick road, basically. And people respond. If I'm going to pay this, I want this kind of results, and they that's what drives them. Mm-hmm. If I gave my services away for free, I first would get 6 people and 6 failures.
Yep. They don't take it serious. They don't.
It's free.
They don't have any skin in the game.
They don't take it serious. Right.
So James, how did you get started? What inspired you to get into fitness?
I fell out of shape. I went to a trainer. He made me throw up. I told myself this will never happen again. That long ago.
Right on.
And he took my money. I threw up 5 minutes into the session. He said, "Okay, dude, that's $15." I said, "Dude, I didn't make it through the whole session." He goes, "Look, my job is to make money. Your job is to get in shape. Come back when you're in shape." That's exactly was his terminology. And I got pissed. And I'm like, this will never happen again. And since then, away it's been.
What an awesome job. Get paid to make people throw up and get results.
Right. And there was no compassion. There was no, I mean, you got to remember, that was 40 plus years ago. Gyms at that time were like taboo. Mm-hmm. Okay. You had a YMCA, you had some backyard gyms, and you had a few nooks and corners and holes in the wall. Okay. Today, it's $1 billion a year business. The gyms are high tech. They got all this fancy gizmo stuff. Mm-hmm. They got machines that actually do it for you if you let it. But the bottom line is, you got to get there. You got to do it.
Right on.
Every year you can go right to the newspaper today and find treadmills. People selling, "Hey, I got this treadmill for Christmas a few years ago. I barely used it. I'm selling it for $20. Just move it. Get out of my house."
Those are great bargains.
What does that tell you? But if you buy, right, if you
new,
you got to go to a gym. Right, you got to pay a trainer. If he makes you accountable and you work together, you can achieve anything.
Mm-hmm. So, James, what's the one thing that you would tell somebody to consider if they really want to be successful with their fitness goals? What would that be?
Don't quit. Don't stop. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall off the wagon. Don't let a week go by without getting back on the bike, getting back on the treadmill, getting back into the gym. You know, I mean, life throws curves every day at everybody. But in order to do what you need to do, you got to burn something in your soul that says, okay, today I ate a cheeseburger. I know I shouldn't have, but tomorrow I'm getting to the gym and I'm going to work that cheeseburger off.
Right on.
Okay.
So, James, how do our listeners, if they're near you or they've really connected with what you're saying here and want to reach out to you and connect and perhaps work with you, how do they find you?
Well, the easiest way, I got a great marketing team that's sort of fun. They gave me the title of James the Trainer at yahoo.com. And if you say it really fast, like you're in pain, like James the Trainer at yahoo.com, you'll remember it the rest of your life.
That is hard to forget now. James the Trainer, Yahoo!
Yeah. So, .com, and it gets no easier than that.
Excellent.
And, you know, we try to respond within 24 hours a day. But what's happened is I have been overloaded. I have a lot of, I tell all my people, jump in before the 2017 price increases. Mm-hmm. And it works for all other businesses, even though I don't change my prices. It just makes them rush in because people that start December 29th, are more successful than those that start January 3rd.
Don't you know it? Hey, you know what? When you're saving lives, you give them what they need to get them in the life raft.
Excellent. Without a doubt.
James, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with our listeners today. I wish you continued success for you, for To Work Hard Incorporated, and all of your clients.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a true treat. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us today. And this is a program, special edition for fitness, health, and nutrition. On this segment, my guest is John Furia from Acceleration Sports Training out of Long Island, New York. John, welcome to the program.
Mark, great having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So, John, tell us a little bit about Acceleration Sports Training and the types of folks that you help there.
Well, we're a sports performance business located in Long Island, New York. We've been in existence now for 16 years, going on our 17th year since 2000. We were established in 2000. Our clientele consists of primarily high school, collegiate, and professional athletes. We really specialize in our main niche is helping high school athletes really get into college, because that is like the core of our business. I would say the breakdown of our business is probably about 60 to 75% college and high school kids, and then about 15% of professional athletes. We train sports from about 11, 12 different sports. I would say our main core 4 sports are baseball, football, lacrosse, and hockey, because lacrosse on Long Island here is a really, really big sport. So we're really big with helping lacrosse recruits. We have about 10 of the top 50 recruits here in the country here in our facility on Long Island. So our specialty mainly is helping our kids get to college and helping any athlete reach their ultimate goal, whether it be college, whether it be the professional ranks, and just helping guys get better and improve themselves physically and mentally.
How do a lot of your students find you initially? What's been most effective for you to attract athletes?
Well, I got to tell you, Mark, I've been really fortunate. We have a great word of mouth following. We actually do very, very minimal marketing. We have a web presence, but we really have a great word of mouth following. We're sort of like a little family here. So anybody who comes into the Acceleration program becomes part of the Acceleration family. So we really work hard at bringing everybody in, making them feel welcome, making them feel part of the family, and usually everybody does, and when they get out, everybody comes raving fans and really goes out and gives us great recognition and great referrals to potential clients. So I would say how the majority of the people find our program.
That's terrific. So what do you say, like, when athletes come to see you? Is there one common thing that they're all looking for, or a common challenge they all face? What do they want when they come to see you?
Absolutely. I mean, if you would ask any athlete, the first thing athletes would say to you, if I polled 10 athletes, 9.9% of those athletes would say, Coach, I got to get faster. I got to improve my speed. So biggest thing we work on here is obviously improving speed, and all the other, physical development aspects that go with it, speed, strength, and size. Because we're working with a lot of high school athletes, we get a lot of kids that are being looked at by college coaches and college scouts. We also have a large clientele of baseball prospects here, some that play in the minor leagues and some that are in college that are usually eligible for the Major League Baseball draft. And so we're always getting guys ready for combines, showcases, pre-draft showcases, and so on and so forth. So the biggest thing I'd say when our clients come to us, when the kids come to us, usually it's I have to improve my speed, have to improve my strength, and also have to improve my size and my overall fitness. And another big thing that we really address here is we're really, really big on the injury prevention component, because we do get a lot of athletes that have pre-existing injuries or some that are coming off injuries. And that's a big part of what we do as well. So I would say the biggest thing is speed, strength, and size, and then the injury prevention component as well.
You know how there's so much information out there and it seems like a fad workout coming out every week? Do you think that adds to a lot of confusion and misinformation out there in the world? What are you seeing when your athletes first come to see you?
Absolutely. I'd agree with that. With the web presence that we have now, there's so much information, and I think we're really overwhelmed by all that information. I mean, an average athlete or parent may get online and look up sports performance or sports training, and the kind of information that they get bombarded with can be really, really, really overwhelming. So what happens is people sometimes will develop, pre-diagnosed ideas on really what they need to do in order to get better. And a lot of times, you have different niches in this industry where, you have niches where are just strictly for fitness. You have niches that are just strictly for fat loss, and you have niches that are just strictly for sports performance. The kind of athletes that we're working with are really training toward a specific goal to improve in their specific sport. So one of the things that people do get confused by a lot is they do get confused by, well, if I just get myself generally fit by following, say, any random program, what they fail to understand sometimes is any random program actually could sort of derail them from what they're actually trying to achieve. So while sometimes you can improve your fitness, it may not necessarily translate to the field of that specific sport. So you bring up a really good question there. There is a lot of confusion out there. And again, the web is a great thing, but at the same time, it can be negative to the sense that people do have a tendency to get a little overwhelmed with the amount and the abundance of information that's out there. So that's a really great question, Mark.
Yeah, you really do need a guide to really, sift and sort and get through that information. So how do you overcome it? What's the solution? Like, what's the first thing you do? How do you help them, deprogram them, if you will, from all of this misunderstanding when you first meet them?
That's another great question. What we do is we bring in all our athletes, whether it's, it's an older athlete or a younger athlete with a parent that has to come in that's underage. But we bring all our athletes in, and we spend about anywhere from a half an hour to an hour doing just a consultation. And the consultation basically is just sort of like a getting to know you kind of a scenario. It's free of charge. We bring everybody in. We sit them down. We talk a little bit about, what sports they play, what their endeavors are, what they're trying to do, where they like to go with the sport. Sometimes we get people that come in here. We get athletes that come in here that just want to physically get in better. They don't necessarily have a goal to play in college or play at the professional level. They just want to improve on an overall level. So basically what we do is we spend that half an hour to an hour just getting to know the person and getting to basically get an idea of, all right, where are you at now and where do you want to improve? And then what it does, it gives us a kickstart as to devising a plan for that person going forward if they do become a client, so that when we do the second phase, which is an actual physical evaluation that we do, it gives us an idea as to really where they want to go with it and what they want to do. So once you meet for that first time, when the client's coming back, they have a really good feeling and an excitement about coming back to do the things that they do, and knowing that we're all on the same page and we're all looking to move in the right direction. And I think they have an exciting feeling about coming in and knowing that we've already had that meeting and that we all have a good understanding, we're on the same page and we're all going in the right direction. So I would say that's ultimately the way that we really are able to answer questions and help direct people. And like I said, one of the great things about our program is because of the fact that we're able to meet with that potential client in the first half an hour to an hour that we meet them before we actually do any training or any evaluating, it gives them a really good feel, and it does dispel a lot of those myths, like you say, that people will pick up on the internet or, pick up just with general information and so on and so forth.
Right on. So, John, how'd you get started? What inspired you to get into fitness to begin with?
That's a great question. I'm an ex-college athlete. Spend a lot of time in the rehab room, unfortunately, rehabbing a lot of injuries. I had a knee injury, shoulder injury, and a back injury. And unfortunately, the back injury had ended my career. So I eventually went to school for athletic training and exercise physiology. And I wound up just falling in love with fitness and falling in love with the idea of helping people. One of the things I think that frustrated me so much was when I was an athlete, and this is back in the 80s. I've been in the business now for about 27 years. Back in the 80s when I hurt myself, the sports medicine and sports performance scenarios that we have today weren't quite what they were back in those days. So, the rehabilitation programs and the protocols they had weren't quite as effective. So I sort of fell through the cracks a little bit, and it was really frustrating. So I dedicated myself to really getting as knowledgeable as I possibly could and educated as I possibly could. And it led me into the field of strength and conditioning and athletic training. And my goal was to get out there and help as many people as I possibly could. And which was really great is I hit the industry at a time where the sports performance industry in the early 2000s really started to explode. And it was a great combination of a market being there and the timing being right. And I've been very, very fortunate to be able to, get into this industry and help a lot of people, and the business has been very successful, and I'm very blessed and very fortunate to having wound up where I am. But I would say the reasons I got into this field is, number one, helping people, very important. Number two, having experienced a lot of these things on my own, unable to overcome some injuries, and that's one of the things that we really focus on here. We get a lot of clients that have had some failed surgeries or have had some, unfortunate rehab situations where they weren't able to get over an injury, and we've really gotten people over the hump in a lot of cases, and we've become sort of known for that here. And so the helping people and having had the experience myself has been the biggest part of it. And it's been extremely, really rewarding, and I feel blessed for that.
That's awesome. Hey, to wrap this up, if you were to give an athlete a piece of advice right now, what's the one thing that you would tell them they should consider if they want to be successful with their athletic career?
3 components to being an athlete, okay? And this is something that I've learned in all the years I've been in this business. Number one, you have to be physically sound. And I tell all my athletes when they come in and they do our consultation, you have to start from the basics. We use the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. Very simple stuff. You want to just start from the bottom, work yourself up, build a good foundation for your body. The second part of it is consistency, work ethic, and really making a commitment to really getting yourself better. That's a big part of it, because with great knowledge and poor consistency, you're not going to really get to where you got to go. And then the third part of it is a huge mental component to being an athlete. One of the things I've seen in all the years that I've been a strength coach, I've worked at the professional, collegiate, and high school levels. I've come across some of the most gifted and talented, physically gifted and talented athletes in this business, but there's always a guy or two that doesn't have the mental capacity or doesn't have that mental fitness to get themselves over the top as far as being able to be an elite level athlete or being able to even play even at the college level. So the 3 major things: keep it simple, build a basic foundation. Number 2, you got to have work ethic. You got to have the ability to get yourself up, get yourself going, get your training in. Get it done for how many days a week you're going to do your training. And then the third part of it is you got to have good mental fitness. Mental fitness is a huge, huge part of getting yourself to the next level. Without that part of it, I see too many guys sputter and not make it to the next step. So those 3 things: keep it basic, build a foundation. Number 2, you definitely want to make sure that you keep a good work ethic. You work hard at what you're doing. You're compliant to your program. You do what you have to do. And then the third part of it is mental fitness. You got to work on your mental fitness. Very, very important.
John, for our listeners out there who are nearby you or really connect with what you're saying, this has been absolutely fantastic, by the way. How can people find you and connect?
Well, you can find us on the web. Our web address is www.acceleration with an X. It's acceleration, XCELERATION, strength, all one word, .com. And if you want to get a hold of me, my email address is Coach Furia. That's Coach Furia, Furia, at acceleration with an X, strength.com. So it's XCELERATION, the word strength.com. And we're always happy and looking to get new athletes, and we're always welcome and open to anybody of any sport, any fitness level, anything that anybody's looking to do to improve their performance and improve their health, we do it.
This has been great information, John. I really appreciate you taking the time and speaking to my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you, for Acceleration Sports Training, and for all of your athletes.
Well, Mark, you have a great program, and I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
That wraps up another episode of our Health, Nutrition, and Fitness Special Edition. If you know a remarkable expert, business, person, place, or thing that we should feature on the show, drop me a line on my email, radioguest@markimperial.com. That's radioguest@markimperial.com. Until next time, I'm Mark Imperial. Take care and make it a remarkable week.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.